welcome everyone here to this official dedication of the Anthony B. DiDonato Senior Memorial Highway. To begin, I would like to ask if the Veterans Color Guard would stand at attention, would go for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and then the choral group from Shepherd Hill Regional High School will offer the national anthem. So if we could all stand. Today, by the authority of Chapter 314 of the Acts of 2012, we dedicate this road in memory of Anthony B. Tony DiDonato of Dudley. It's a road that he so often traveled in the service of others and of his town. We honor a man who was proud of his family and this town, a man who unselfishly gave of his time and his talent in the service of others. Tony DiDonato was the consummate public servant. Anthony B. DiDonato Sr. was elected to the Board of Selectmen in 1970 for his first one-year term. He served until 1979. In fact, I first met Tony in 1970 at a meeting of the Massachusetts Selectmen's Association. We became friends and were friends ever since through the years. He was a loyal supporter of my first race for the Senate and continued that until his passing. Tony returned to the board in 1982 to 1994, and after a two-year break, won his bid for the board in 1996. And the Dudley voters thereafter regularly returned Tony to office every 3 years, making him the longest-serving selectman in the history of Dudley. In all, he served 6 one-year terms and 10 three-year terms, and he was a few months into his 17th term when he died at the age of 89 on September 21st, 2011. In all, Tony dedicated over 50 years of service to his beloved town of Dudley, serving 36 years as a selectman and on a variety of other committees and boards. From his start on the Sewer Commission to the Library Building Committee, where the flagpole of the Pearl Crawford Library on Schofield Avenue was dedicated in his honor. He was a regular communicant of St. Anthony of Padua Church, where he actively volunteered since the church was built in Dudley over 40 years ago. A 60-year member of the Dudley Grange, postman at number 163, Tony was a welcoming fixture at the annual Strawberry Festival that will be coming up in another month. His community involvement included a number of organizations, among them the VFW, American Legion Post 184, the Webster Auburn Elks, 118, the Dudley Lions Club, the Knights of Columbus, and where he was selected to be Grand Knight. He loved to deliver meals to the homebound through the Meals on Wheels program. He used to walk annually with the Crop Walk to end hunger. He gave to various American Cancer Society fundraising events. Tony loved life and lived it to the fullest. He loved spending time with his family and friends, and he loved serving his community and never hesitated to volunteer his time. He enjoyed being up front and center in the local parades, and he took pride in his yard and garden. In his unending quest for knowledge, he was an avid reader. His quick smile, kind words, and warm personality were something that was a hallmark of his visits to any meeting or board or any gathering. He was a proud veteran, serving in the Army in the Second World War, deployed as a combat infantryman in the European theater. He was a self-made man, but he was humbled when he was awarded an honorary Bachelor of Science degree in Public Administration by Nicholas College in 2002, although he never completed high school, sort of like Bill Gates in many respects. Along with his town, the other pillar in Tony's life was his family. With his four brothers, Leo, Jeremiah, or Jerry, Santo, or Sam, and Pasquale, Pat, he followed his father into the building trades and eventually created his own business of building and remodeling homes. His wife of 43 years, May, died in 1991. With May, he had three children. June Fleury of Mystic, Connecticut, Anthony DiDonato Jr., who was here for a little bit, his wife Patricia of Dudley, April Stevens, and her husband Mike Stevens of Dudley, with 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. He also enjoyed the company of his longtime companion, Terry Dolinsky, and he has two sisters, Carol Delomo and Rose Dufus, and many nieces, nephews, grand and great-nephews, and the clan goes on and on. The essence of this great man, I think, can be captured in the comments of those with whom he worked from the town and the regional school district. One quote was, "Tony, as he was known by everyone, was loved and respected throughout this community and indeed this Commonwealth." Here are a few examples. Tony of the town of Dudley lost its most visible symbol of what Dudley is all about. Selectman Sullivan said it in his passing. Tony was truly a selfless leader, a champion for all Dudley. He would be greatly missed. Paul Joseph said Tony's impact locally was so significant he was a sweet, gentle man dedicated to Dudley. Superintendent of Schools, Sean Gilrain, said, no matter what you were advocating, he was always respectful and took the time to listen. Tony was living proof of the positive change an individual can make by giving of themselves. For those reasons, we honor Tony today for his long service, but also for the kind of person that he was. It's my pleasure to introduce my colleague who co-sponsored the legislation with me, representative for the town of Dudley, Representative Peter Duran.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank the town of Dudley and the DiDonato family for inviting me to participate in this occasion. It's a wonderful occasion, a wonderful legacy for Mr. DiDonato. I didn't know Tony. I kind of took office a couple of years ago, in a district that didn't include Dudley at the time. But I know about Tony, and I know his legacy, and I know the good work that he's done here in town. He was a man who seemed to transcend politics. He was a man, as Senator Moore had mentioned, was everywhere. Some would say a selectman. He was able to be a lot of things to a lot of different people, and that's not always an easy task. He was somebody who cared deeply about his community, and one of those fixtures in a community where his name was synonymous with the town of Dudley. I know there's an old saying in politics that says if you've been around long enough, you tend to get everybody mad at you, so it's very difficult to stay in politics very long. And Tony seems to transcend that. He seems to be somebody that has been around, that has had great love for the town of Dudley, and has had a great impact on the future of Dudley and its residents. I didn't get to know Tony, but I got to talk to Chairman Ruda a little bit about Tony, and he said to me, you know, when he was first elected, he won his election by 2 votes, which I may know a little something about winning close elections, but Tony didn't ask for a recount, or he lost his first election by 2 votes. He didn't ask for a recount. He came back and he won it again, and as Senator Moore mentioned his career seemed to take off after that. Chairman Ruder said to me, he said when he ran, when John Ruder ran for selectman, Tony had called him up and asked for to put a sign on his lawn. And Chairman Ruder asked him, he said, what's the secret to staying in politics in town for so long? And Tony said, stay out of the town hall as much as humanly possible. And Jonathan said that that's probably the best advice that he's ever had. I would like to have known Tony in hearing about his legacy. I didn't get that chance, but I think I would have enjoyed knowing him very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks very much, Representative. Tony was so dedicated to the town of Dudley. One little story that I can recall was when we dedicated a bridge over the French River. It's down the road from here. And it was originally proposed as the Webster-Dudley Bridge. Tony's communicating with us now. Tony insisted that on the Dudley side, it would be the Dudley-Webster Bridge. On the Webster side, the Webster-Dudley Bridge. So it actually has two names because of Tony's concern to make sure that Dudley was equally represented on that crossing of the river. It would be, I think, remiss if we didn't hear from the Board of Selectmen that Tony spent so much time, and so it's my pleasure to introduce Peter Fox, member of the Board of Selectmen from Dudley, representing the board.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to say that I am honored and privileged to be serving on the Board of Selectmen, filling Tony's vacancy. After the election, our town clerk came up to me and said, Peter, you have big shoes to fill. I would like to make a quick comment that nobody, and I mean nobody, can ever fill Tony's shoes. He is a special person. He was a special selectman, and it was a privilege to have worked with Tony for almost 15 years, and I can honestly say Tony is truly missed. There isn't a day that goes by where somebody doesn't have a wonderful comment about Tony DiDonato, and it's been a privilege trying to work with the other selectmen in memory of Tony. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. It's, I think, not only traditional, but certainly important, given Tony's faith and loyalty to St. Anthony of Padua Church, to have the pastor of that church offer a prayer of dedication for this highway being dedicated in memory of Tony, Father Joseph Marcotte.
Let us pray. God and Father of us all, we gather this day to honor Tony for his service to you, our country, this community above all. We ask you to bless us with your presence. We know you are never far off from those who serve you. With fatherly care, you watch over those who place their trust in you. By your grace, be the guide going before those using this highway which honors Tony's memory. Be their companion and protection. May they travel safely. We pray always, giving honor and praise to you, our God, forever and ever. Amen.
This time I'm going to ask Tony's namesake, Anthony B. DiDonato Jr., to come up and say a few words on behalf of the family, and then we will invite any member of the family, all the members of the family, if they'd like to come up and we will unveil the sign. Following the unveiling, our choral group from Shepherd Hill will give a rendition of God Bless America, and we will conclude with a bugle performance playing of the Army theme song. At that point, Chief Wayner has promised to stop all traffic through Dudley, at least on the Tony D. Donato Senior Highway, so that the family and the rest of us who are part of the program, the rest of the Board of Selectmen I know are all here, can go out with a ribbon and actually cut the ribbon. We'll let family can draw straws, I guess, if they want to do that. But to have a cutting of the ribbon, and we will then get off the highway and we'll allow the traffic to again return to normal. So with that, let me invite Tony Di Donato Jr. to come forward.
Good morning. Today is a day of days. Tony was my dad. It's an honor to say a few words on his behalf. First, I'd like to thank Senator Moore, Representative Durant, the Dudley Board of Selectmen, Father Marcotte, my 4 wonderful children and their families, all of my relatives that are seated here today, and all of you who took the time out of your busy schedule to be here. We're here today to honor an ordinary man whose life turned out to be rather extraordinary. My father was born in Dudley and lived here almost 90 years. He cherished his family and his friends, but Dudley was a big part of his life. He started serving the people in Dudley in 1964 as a sewer commissioner. He was first elected to the Board of Selectmen in 1969, and he was committed until his passing in 2011. His vision of the future of Dudley was always evident. He was always pushing for improvement to the town and constantly pushing to upgrade services and buildings. He enjoyed being a part of Dudley and his progress. My father was a builder in town for many years. He used that practical knowledge of business in his decisions. He was a people person. He always treated others with dignity and respect. His openness and ability to listen was refreshing and calming. His high energy and optimism was inspirational. Without trying to lead, he was a leader. My father also spent much of his time volunteering to more causes and events than I could ever list. But I think many will remember him marching with his fellow veterans every Memorial Day and Veterans Day, flipping burgers at the Strawberry Festival, cooking at St. Anthony's Church functions, delivering Meals on Wheels, campaigning for politicians. I could go on, but we'll never forget how we always had raffle tickets to sell for some fundraiser.
And they were never winners.
Well, my father quit school when he was in 9th grade to go to work. But what he lacked in a formal education, he more than made up for with his self-taught education and his common sense. He had a knack for simplifying problems that came his way. He was warm, friendly, confident but humble, optimistic, and very colorful. Let's face it, he loved the limelight. He loved being in a frying pan. Some would say it was a small frying pan, but he thrived in it just the same. I know he would be awestruck with this wonderful honor taking place today. On his behalf, I would like to say thank you.
I do also want to recognize Liz Quigley, who's here from Congressman Neal's office, standing in the back with the white sweater. Congressman Neal was also a good friend of Tony's and valued his friendship and his support over the years. And is in Washington, otherwise he would be here himself. Somebody's got to keep an eye on those folks down there, so the Congressman's doing that for us. So with that, I'd like to invite the Di Donato family to come up and unveil the sign. These signs will be posted along the road. The highway runs actually from the lights, the intersection with Sofield Ave, from Dudley Hill Road with West Main Street up at the other end of the town up near the road that turns out to St. Anthony's.
Detail 10.
If you're a veteran of the U.S. Army, you're welcome to stand.
Now, if the folks who are part of the speaking program and those of the DiDonato family who are brave, who want to venture out in the street and trust Chief Wayner, and members of the Board of Selectmen, if you'd like to join us, we'll do an official ribbon cutting.
All the way across. We all together? Photos. Everything together?
Dad, this one is for you.
Okay. Go.
Very good.
It's a good thing to stay away.
You're going to go down Williams Street. They're going to install them later.
So